A very good morning to you, dear listener, and welcome to Perspectives, a current affairs discussion program on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM, Makode. Today's Friday, April 4, 2025. This edition of Perspectives focus on recall process in the National Assembly, particularly in the Senate, and issues surrounding democracy. The Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpotiuduaghan has been in the midst of the storm recently, been suspended by the Senate for 6 months, and of course her constituents initiated what they call a recall process for her and has sent the information to the Independent National Electoral Commission seeking to recall her from the Red Chamber. But yesterday, a twist came to that development as INEC informed Nigerians and the public that the petition for the recall is lacking the constitutional provision. Maybe for emphasis sake, I will read a paragraph of the press release issued by INEC, and instead, for emphasis, a petition for recall of a senator must comply with Section 69, subsection A of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which requires the signatures of 1/2 of the registered voters in the constituency. The total number of registered voters in Kogi Central Senatorial District is 474,554, and the Commission said more than 1/2 of this figure is about 50% plus one, which it said which is said 237,277 plus one, which is at least the 50%, 1/2 of the population that is required. And according to the Commission, across the 902 polling units in the 57 registration areas of the 5 local government, 81 signatures and thumbprints from the submissions made by the petitioners were made to them. And this translates to just about 43.86% of the registered voters, which, according to the Commission, falls short of the constitutional requirement by 29,146 signatories needed to have that recall process to be effected. What does this portend for democracy? And this is not the first time issues of recall for senators seeking also initiated against him, but it never saw the light of the day. Back here in Benue State, during the time of a senator, the history of recall process in Nigeria in general, will you ever see the light of the day to have a sitting senator recalled? With this situation arising from Kogi now, we will decide to spotlight to discuss this issue, to look at the various perspectives. What do you feel? Is the Senate or the INEC being fair in the whole situation? And what is the constituent of that particular Kogi Central Senatorial District? What is their motive for having their senator recalled? These are the issues we shall try to interrogate on this edition of Perspectives. I've been joined here in the studio by a legal practitioner who is a public affairs commentator that will offer insights on the subject matter. Barrister Timothy Amatimi is our guest on the program. Thank you very much for joining us, Barrister Amatimi, and welcome to Perspectives once again.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, staying here with you, and good morning, listeners.
All right. And later in the course of the program, we'll be joined virtually by a public affairs analyst and a newspaper columnist who has written tons of articles and newspaper columns on this issue, especially since it started with the current senator who is in the midst of the whole thing. Jide Ojo will join us virtually from Abuja in the course of the program. Stay with us. I am Nathaniel Nango, welcoming you to this Friday edition of the program. And if this is your first time tuning into Perspectives, kindly be informed that it is audience participatory. At 10 o'clock, we allow you, the listener, to phone in and offer your thoughts on what we are discussing. You can reach us on the number 0814-335-9292. The number through which you can reach us once again is 0814-335-9292. Meanwhile, the SMS line through which you can also participate on the program is 0912-699-9404. 0912-699-9404. Remember, you can also .com, where you also access other content as well. We are available on Radio Garden and on social media platforms. where our content is streaming. You may also download the iGet Radio and TV app from Google Play Store. And this is a one-stop app that avails you the platforms of our television online, the radio, as well as newspaper. We're available on all these platforms to serve you beyond boundaries. Please stay with us as we take a short breather, and once we are back, our discussion begins. Kindly stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. Barrister Matimi, you have been following this development closely. I remember we have also spoken with you, seeking your interviews on this previously. And yesterday, INEC announced to Nigerians that the petition has not met the requirement of Section 69 of the Constitution. Therefore, no further action shall be taken on the recall of the senator. Tell us, what does this portend, and drawing from the Constitution of the country?
Okay, constitutionally speaking, that is the end of the road for the process. And it's, for me, a reflection of the letters and spirit of the Constitution at work. And it's a welcome development for the lovers of democracy in Nigeria. We have been monitoring developments on this subject matter, and the political dimension the matter assumed was worrisome to some of us who were interested in following the process. And it's very good for us to lay a background for our listeners to appreciate the subject matter better.
Absolutely.
Now, we have three arms of government. We have the legislature, you have the executive and the judiciary. Now, for the legislature, they are elected by the people to represent the interests of the people. And that gives us a picture of a democratic arrangement where it is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, for the executive, they are equally elected by the people substantially for elected position. And for the judiciary, you have appointment of judges. And there are safeguards that still recognizes that power resides with the people. And the Constitution flowing from that have provided certain provisions in the Constitution to cater for such situations where, for instance, members of the executive who are elected by the people for some obvious reasons begin to pursue aspirations, begin to violate Constitution, or pursue ambitions that are contrary to the interests of the people. Such people, through their representative, can be impeached. So the Constitution have this thinking. The framers of the Constitution have this mindset that for executive who are elected by the people, because they are represented by the people, call either at the state level, House of Assembly members, at the federal level, whether it's Senate, you have senators, you have House of Representative members who oversight the executive, and for any violation, for any policy that does not promote the interests of the people, such person can be impeached. And for the lawmakers, their process is known as the process of recall. Now, once you are elected by the people have a right vested in them because they elected you to represent their interest. If they lose confidence in you, they, as your constituent, can recall you as their representative. Now, flowing from that background, Section 69 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended has provided for copiously. And with your leave, I crave your indulgence to read that section, which is very important for this conversation.
The leave is granted.
Thank you very much. A member of the Senate or of the House of Representatives may be recalled as such as a member if A, there is presented to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission a petition in that behalf signed by more than one half of the persons registered to vote in that member's constituency, alleging their loss of confidence in that member, and which signatures are duly verified by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And B, the petition is thereafter in a referendum conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission within 90 days of the date of receipt of the petition, approved by a simple majority of the votes of the persons registered to vote in that member's constituency. Now, this is a very wondrous task, to be surmounted by any constituents who seeks to recall their member whom they duly elected. And at the time of election, the people had confidence in their representative or the aspirant at that time to represent them. Now, for loss of confidence, that is just the ground for a member to be recalled. If your constituent lose confidence in you, that we no longer have confidence in your representation, they can recall you. However, there is a threshold for such to activate the process, and that threshold is one half of the persons registered in that constituency. So that one half is a very serious thing. For you to recall a member, you must comply with this requirement of one half of the registered voters in the constituency where the said member of the House of Representatives or the Senate seeking to be recalled comes from. And in the case of Kogi State, we were dealing with about 4 local government where the senator is represented. That is Kogi Central Senatorial District.
Absolutely.
Yes. And based on the registered number of voters from that polling unit, we could not argue further with the position of INEC on that issue, that the constitutional provision wasn't met. And in fact, we must commend INEC on this issue because we have been getting periodic updates from the commission since receipt of that petition, and the necessary parties were contacted. In fact, there is a regulation and guidelines on INEC on recall 2024 that deals extensively on that subject, because if you look at section 69 of the Constitution, you just have 2 provisions there specifying what to do. So INEC, in order to complement the constitutional provision, have come up with guidelines on what and what needs to be done in order to recall a member by the constituent. And we, in the course of the program, we will speak extensively on such issues, or maybe previous attempt to recall other members of the National Assembly in Nigeria.
All right. Now, we are focusing on Kogi State today, not necessarily because we are in Kogi State, but this is an issue of interest to all Nigerians. And of course, Benue is also a microcosm of the Nigerian Federation. I mentioned in the introduction of this program here in Benue State how an attempt was made. And what is happening in other parts of the country is capable of happening in Benue, maybe now or in the future. So we need to get our people guided properly. So just give us insight into, you have spoken quite elaborately about getting the confidence, or not any in the confidence of your constituents. In this particular case of the Kogi Central Senator we're looking at, do you see that the constituents actually have lost confidence in her in strict sense and meaning of what is playing out?
Now, we cannot pretend that there is a political undertone in the whole exercise or the initiation of that exercise. In fact, for persons who have been following, development, since our return to democracy in 1999, this previous attempt aimed at recalling members of the National Assembly had political undertone. And as usual, they died a natural death, having not complied with the necessary provisions of the Constitution. Now, I've listened and watched videos where members of voters from the affected senatorial district we are lamenting that some of them were invited to an empowerment program, and they were encouraged to bring their voters card as a way of admitting them to the venue for them to be empowered. and their signatures were obtained under the impression or the misrepresentation that they were going to be empowered. Now, I believe maybe in the course of INEC taking further to conducting a referendum would have gotten even a clearer picture whether even the number of persons that appended their signatures to the recall of the senator were duly informed of that exercise, and they were not in any way deceived into giving their consent to what they never knew about. And we have watched the senator celebrate the Easter Salah with his constituents, and the number of people that showed up for that gathering were mind-blowing. So one began to ask, who were the constituents that actually signed for her recall? You recall that prior to her election, some of us were following development. They were attempt to even stop her from emerging as a senator. And on the day of election, we knew what the sitting governor at that time did to ensure that people never voted at that election. In fact, our roads, public roads, were cut, to prevent even INEC staff from getting access to the various polling units in that area. It took the intervention of the court for her to be declared the winner of that election. So for me, it's a welcome development, and it's, for me, a wake-up call for Nigerians too, that of course you have a right. The fact that you have elected people to represent you, it's not absolute. For them to stay there for 4 years because you have given them the mandate to represent you. Once a member who is validly elected by the people begin to behave in such a manner that the people no longer have confidence in that person, the electorate have the right to begin the process of recall. And you don't need anyone to sponsor this exercise. The electorate can come together to initiate the process. And in the case of Kogi State, the subject matter where we're talking about, we have an unregistered body present the petition, because there was a search on the Corporate Affairs Commission. It was a movement or an association that presented that petition on behalf of the elected, that they met the constitutional threshold of that 1/2 of the people who have the capacity to recall their senator. They have the right to seek approach the court for redress. So it is not the end of the road for the constituent who presented a petition, but based on INEC findings and verification, have come to a conclusion that yes, you have not met the constitutional requirement. They can challenge the decision of INEC in court. So it is not the end of the road for them. If truly they met that constitutional requirement by securing the required signatures of the voters in the constituency of a senator they are seeking to recall, they can approach the court for redress, and the court will look into their grievances.
Okay, but in this particular instance, INEC has already stated, and what from the release I read, the language is clear that no further action will be taken because it falls short of the required constitutional provision as provided for in Section 69, based on the procedure, part of which you read there. So in this particular, and I'm just reflecting on the release for that they said they have already communicated this to the presiding officers of the Senate. Do you see that further action will be taken on this now that INEC has made the position officially?
If the constituents who signed that petition are convinced that they got the required 1/2 of the person registered in that constituency to recall their senator, they can approach the Federal High Court for redress. Now, the position of INEC, yes.
INEC said they have verified these signatures.
That is the position of INEC. That is the position of INEC.
Yes.
If the people feel otherwise, right? Because INEC cannot completely. Their position is subject to the interpretation of the courts. So if INEC have made their findings, done their verification, and have reached that point that this is the end of the road, it is not absolute. It's just like in a party primaries, for instance. The fact that INEC has accepted a particular name of a candidate submitted to it does not make that decision final. If an aspirant at the primaries felt that, oh, I was a validly, nominated person by my party, the person can approach the court, and whatever the court finds, INEC is duty bound to respect the order made from the court in respect of the candidature of that person. So what I'm saying in summary is that, yes, for INEC, that is the end of the road for them. But for the constituents, if they feel and if they are convinced that they got the required 1/2 required by Section 69 of the Constitution, they can approach the court for the court to interpret and equally adjudicate as to whether in this given circumstance that constitutional provision was met or not.
Okay, now, Barrister Amatmi.
Yes.
Why suddenly this senator we're talking about here, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, was suspended by the Senate for 6 months? As it is, her suspension is subsisting. Just within the period of the suspension, a recall is being initiated against her. Do you suspect any political undertones? If I got you correctly, when you mentioned that some of the recall processes are politically motivated.
Of a truth, I don't see it as a mere coincidence that shortly after the drama we saw at the floor of the Senate involving her and the Senate President, arising from the issue of change of her seat, and then later a petition bordering on sexual harassment, and then the suspension, if one look at the speed, which the Committee on Ethics and Privileges of the Senate acted. In fact, the abridged time in them reporting back to the Senate following the assignment for them to investigate the conduct of the senator, one begins to read meaning that it may not be a coincidence that some persons are interested in recalling her as a senator. Now, the truth of the matter is that for us in Nigeria, when you see someone dancing by the roadside, it is possible without seeing drums, it is possible that someone is drumming in the bush for that person. And if you now begin to read or add up events that culminated to the final outcome of that process, you begin to connect the dots, and one can safely that there is likelihood of a political undertone in the recall process. Because when the senator had scheduled to meet her constituents and celebrate with them, suddenly the governor came on air to declare or ban all public gatherings in Kogi State on security grounds. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a deliberate move. She was the main target, so as to stop her from reaching her constituents and then engaging with them. So there are events that happen in this country that when you look at it without being pretentious about them, you are worried. We have representatives who we don't even see them sponsor a single bill in the National Assembly. We have seen representatives fight on the floor of the National Assembly, physical fight. But nothing was done. So why all of a sudden, issue of change of seat and then sexual harassment, the constituents are now with the Senate President and all that? Is it that the people are not getting the quality representation from that senator? I've listened to House sponsored bills on the floor of the National Assembly that has direct bearing on the people of Kogi State generally, and even his constituents, where he comes from. Like the issue of Jalkuta Steel Company. She had been passionate about that. And she has this connection with her people. And you could read that when she returned home to celebrate the Easter Salah with her people. So one begins to wonder that some people are interested in her recall. Remember, her election itself was through with a lot of controversy and a lot of political moves to stop her. But she finally got her way to the Senate through the courts. Now, why we encourage the electorate, the voters, to recall unperforming members who are elected by them, people should not allow themselves to be used by self-seeking politicians to bastardize that constitutional right given to the electorate. That's my stake on that, and I must maintain that we have National Assembly members who are not even connected to their people, who do not even brief their constituents about what they are doing at the National Assembly. They are not even performing in any way at all. So why is it that constituents, maybe constituents from Kogi State, are more politically alert when it comes to recall of members than other places? But we want to see a true activation of that constitutional provision across board in states and in constituents where we are noticing abysmal performance by representatives from such areas.
All right. We've now been joined virtually by a public affairs analyst and newspaper columnist, Mr. Jide Ojo. He joins us virtually from Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ojo, for joining us on Perspectives here on Agate Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Nat. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Ojo. Now, you have also followed the developments which initially led to INEC receiving a recall notice or petition for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central. And yesterday, INEC communicated to Nigerians that what they got from the petitioners did not meet the constitutional threshold. Tell us how you feel about what is happening, especially with the latest development coming from INEC now.
Thank you, Nathaniel. For me, it's nothing extraordinary. It is to be expected. This is a cooked-up political move by some individual with vested interest to get Natasha of the Red Chamber. And the moment you understand that both impeachment and recall are political weapons, you understand that Machiavellian principles are usually deployed. To recall Natasha will fail. It will fail because it's easier for a cabinet to pass through the eye of the needle than for anybody to recall a sitting lawmaker, unless that lawmaker is very, very, very unpopular. It's very unpopular. Let me backtrack a little. In 2018, Kogi West Senatorial District even confirmed that there was a threshold exercise, only 5% found, and that was why Gino could not be recalled, and he served out his term in 2019. Now, in the case of Natasha, what INEC has said as of yesterday, because I read their release, is that even the first hurdle was not crossed by producers. The first hurdle, which is to gather a 50 plus 1% of registered voters in a senatorial district. That's what they couldn't meet. Because what they claim they have over 250,000 registered voters. But when INEC did the count, they found out that it fell short. They only were able to meet 46% of the threshold, which means that they didn't have up to 50 plus 1% of registered voters. So if you could not muster 50 plus 1% of registered voters, assuming without considering that INEC now moved to the stage 2, which is verification of the signature and identities of those who wrote the petition, how many percentage do you think they will be able to confirm? Because you need to also cast your mind that in 2023, only about 100,000 people out of the purported 400,000 plus voted in the election where Natasha won marginally. Only 100,000 plus, a little over 100,000. So the bulk of the vote was split between Natasha of PDP and APC candidate who happens to be a man, and whom INEC wrongfully declared as the winner of that senatorial election until Natasha went to court and the Court of Appeal restored her mandate. We need to also put that out there. So I think what INEC did yesterday was to redeem itself, because quite a number of people have been saying, oh, INEC is going to just cook up the story and cook up figures and get Natasha out. I've heard that in whispers. But given the fact that the same INEC declared Natasha's opponent winner in 2023, and the court had to restore her mandate, INEC, as there's a popular adage that once beaten, twice shy. INEC must have learned that the eye of the world is on her, on him, on the institution rather, not on her or him.
Yes.
On the institution. So they must have come to realize that they need to be like Caesar's wife, above board in this matter. And that's why every step of the way, INEC have been updating the public on what they are to do. Now, I have read, I have a copy of the Nigerian Constitution. I have read Section 69, Section A and B. Like I said, the first threshold, the first order was to collect the signature. So you need 50 plus 1% of the total registered number of voters. Then the second order is verification of the signatures, as well as identities of those, and that will have meant INEC will go like having it's like INEC will go back to Kogi Central Senatorial District to conduct a kind of election, because in that verification exercise, INEC will display, will deploy its poll workers to all the polling units. And then people who purportedly sign the petition will come forward with their voter's card, and their name and signature will be checked on the voters register 2:30 in the afternoon. INEC will be there, INEC officials will be there as if they are conducting a fresh senatorial elections. So people will come forward with their voter's cards, it will be checked, just that this time around they will not be issued any ballot paper. So once that and all the parties, both the petitioner and the person who is being recalled, will have the opportunity to deploy polling agents. They will deploy their agents to also superintend and supervise that process. So each by 2:30 in the afternoon, ANA will now do a tally of all those whose identities could be verified. And if it now meets the threshold as stipulated in Section 69A, that's when INEC will now move to the third stage, which is the referendum, which means INEC will go back to now conduct a referendum where people will vote yes or no. At the second stage, which is the verification, there will be no backers. They will check your name on the register. They will check that there is no impersonation, that you are truly the person whose name and picture is on the register. So the only thing that is different with the recall exercise is that unlike voting, where accreditation will be done through BVAS, and then ballot paper will be issued to the voter to cast their ballots, INEC will separate that process. INEC will deploy BVAS to do verification, and the total number of verified verified voters in Kogi Central Senatorial District will now be tabulated and announced. So that was the stage in which the recall of Dino Melaye in 2018, where it got stuck, because only 5% of the registered voters could be verified. So I can say with confidence that it may not yet be Uru for Natasha. Our producers could still represent, only that this initial exercise has been aborted. They can still go back, do another round of collection of registered voters, and then represent to INEC. INEC will still have to go through the whole log again and do the counting. If it means threshold of 50 plus 1, they will now move to the second stage, where they will do verification exercise using the BVAS, and all the registered voters whose name appeared on the petition will now have to come forward.
Okay, so with that established now, Mr. Ojo, how do we now get INEC and, of course, Nigerians, the electorate, utilize this recall process not as an avenue for political witch hunting of elected representatives, but in true sense and meaning for non-performing lawmakers?
As we know, recall is to the lawmakers, while impeachment is to the executive, president, governor, and local government chairperson. And while the framers of our constitution made both impeachment and the call stringent, is because they don't want it to be used as instruments of witch hunt or shadow boxing, as well as to not to distract the lawmaker. So if you want to deploy this, you have to be very, very careful and sure of your facts. You must be sure if you don't want to be humiliated, because now whoever are the producers of Natasha has been humiliated by yesterday's statement by INEC, and she has called out names. She has made a disclosure of those she said were behind the ordeal, and now you could see that obviously it was a political witch hunt in this particular instance, because I recall that when the move was made to recall her, people were deceived to come for empowerment program, and they were to come with their voters card, and that was how they got the names of those people that they submitted to INEC. It was obtained under false pretense. They obtained their data under false pretense, because for those who are enlightened among them, when they realized that something was fishy, they did speak to the press that they were deceived and that this was not a popular move. So if you want to recall any lawmaker, you have to be very sure of your facts. The lawmaker must be very unpopular for that recall exercise to say true. Rather, the easier one in my own opinion is to defeat such person during the election. Because with the re-election exercise, it's a lot easier. You don't actually need the threshold of 50+1 to be in support of defeating anybody. It's just simple majority for all the position of the lawmaker, from senators to House of Reps to State House of Assembly. Unlike that of electing a governor or president, where you need to score 25% of votes in 2/3 of your constituency. For lawmaker, it's just simple majority. So it's easier to defeat someone, it's easier to defeat a lawmaker at a general election than to recall such lawmaker. You saw what happened to Dino. After Dino escaped, being recalled, by 2019, the producers made sure that he didn't win the election. And it was so easy, and it was, remember, it was after that he escaped being recalled that Smart Adeyemi of APC defeated him in that Kogi West Senatorial District. Before Smart Adeyemi himself was defeated in the primaries of APC, where you could not beat the candidate of Yahaya Bello, who was Usman Ododo. So what I'm saying invariably is that the framers of our laws or our constitution were deliberate to make it very stringent for anybody to be recalled, whether the person is popular or unpopular lawmaker. But if you want to actually make it easy for yourself, wait for the next election. Ensure that such candidate does not get the party nomination. And if he or she gets the party nomination, make sure that you have a better candidate contesting against him or her. That way, it's easier because it's just simple majority for the person to win at the poll. So that would be my own submission. The recall and the impeachment process are very cumbersome, and unless, and I repeat for the opt-in time, unless you are very, very unpopular, you cannot be impeached, you cannot be recalled.
Okay, you have stressed this idea of being very unpopular. In the instant case in Kogi State, you have been following the developments there. You've been saying, is the senator a non-performing one? Is she unpopular? Is she not loved by her constituents to warrant this particular move for her recall? And why suddenly did it come at the time the Senate suspended her for 6 months with the suspension still ongoing?
I didn't expect you to ask me that question. The reason being that it's obvious that it's a political witch hunt. You already laid the background. Why is her recall being done when she's on suspension? Was her suspension the right thing to do? The law, the rules of the Senate says that the court has ruled that no senator or lawmaker should be suspended, because you are not just suspending him or you are suspending the entire constituents who he or she represents. But even the rule books of the Senate says that they can only suspend for maximum of 14 days, which is 2 weeks. So where did they get their own law to suspend a serving senator for 6 months? And the court has ruled in Ali Dume's case, in Omagege's case, in even the last one which took place last year, Senator Abdul Ningi. In Ningi's case, I don't think Ningi even went to court. But in Ali Dume's case, in a cyber books now says this illegality of suspending such person for a whole 6 months. And then you said herself and her aides will not be paid salaries or allowances, and that our security details will be withdrawn. Where did the Senate derive that power to even expose one of their own to danger by withdrawing the security details? So I will appeal to whoever are behind the ordeal of Natasha. This woman, even for many people who have reservation about her character, have an issue. She's getting traction, she's getting popular, and she's getting international attention. And that is not good it's not a good optics for our democracy. It's certainly appearing that she was being victimized. And people are now kind of having a second thought. Could it be true that this lady was actually sexually harassed? Otherwise, why would issues such as and I don't agree with Natasha for externalizing this issue, like all the press interviews, both on local or national and international media. Maybe that is overdue, and that is a kind of going overboard. But she possibly felt that she needed to speak out, given that he who wears the shoes knows where she pinches. Yesterday on one national television, she was alleging, just like she said in her own time, during the Salah reception, that she was being targeted for elimination, for assassination. And you could just imagine how far people can go because they want to deal with their fellow human being. I think whoever our producers are, they should just keep their gunpowder dry. Leave her to posterity. Don't push her to speak out in such a way that it will appear like you are putting petrol to fire. Because now she's gaining sympathy, not just of women folks, but even men. Because now people are reading meanings to all of this. Why would you want to recall her when she's suspended? This is a lady that was adjudged by Arise News TV in January this year as the most performing senator in the Nigerian Senate. She was given an award for good performance. So on what basis will you say that you want to recall somebody who has been honored for performing? You have seen some of the footages. If you haven't seen, you can do a Google check of all the empowerment programs that she's doing in our senatorial district. The solar, putting solar on the roads, the road construction, health facilities, training of, and all manner of empowerment programs that she has brought to our people. So much so that a lot of people are saying, we have never had it so good. So if somebody in the eye of our constituents and even in the general public, in the eye of general public that is performing, how then do you want to recall such a person and you think that such exercise will not be an exercise in futility?
All right, Mr. Ojo, just before I let you go, 3 persons are involved here. The Senate as an institution, INEC also as an institution, Senator Natasha, maybe if I should add a 4th person, the electorate. How do we reconcile majorly the institutions getting this situation play out in a way that their integrity will be maintained and they will continue to earn the confidence of Nigerians?
For me, my own advice would be let's follow due process. You know, the whole beauty of democracy is about rule of law. And in rule of law, there are three pillars of rule of law. The first is constitutionalism. The second pillar is equality before the law. The third pillar is fundamental human rights. No, now, if you fail to follow rule of law, you are believing that the country is not a democracy. It's a banana republic or an autocracy, or a kind of dictatorial regime. So if all those institutions you have mentioned, from the Senate to INEC to electorate, if we all follow due process, there will be no big bats. There will be no issue of lamentation or calling out anybody, because like I said, INEC was in the eye of the storm in dealing with this matter. Don't forget, early in the week, Natasha has called out INEC that petition should not have been treated because it didn't actually follow due process. I recall that the first press statement INEC made over this issue was that those who submitted the petition did not avail the condition of their names, their phone numbers, their house address, and their email. And according to Natasha yesterday night, she said the address that was on that petition was not a known address.
Yes, in her
that she tried to verify. That address was not existing. 2, that the coalition group that claimed to spearhead this recall were not registered body with Corporate Affairs Commission to take action. And now they have taken the first action. The action have shown that whoever are the people behind this recall exercise did not do their own work properly. And that's why the exercise has failed. So that I will commend the INEC for retracing its step and doing the right thing. But the institution of Senate and National Assembly needs to watch it. Perception and reality sometimes could be the same thing. The perception people are having is that this institution are acting on Tambaras. Because if you are citing your house rule as a basis for punishing one of your own, then follow due process. What does the due process mean? Okay, you are suspended, maximum 14 days. But that is not to say the person should not be seen within the vicinity of the institution. You will withdraw the security details of the person. You will stop the payment of salaries and allowances and whatever privileges the person has. Under what? So due process has to be followed by all and sundry. And I will appeal to the last set of institutions you talk available to those who want to purchase their conscience. Because for sure, those who wanted to get this lady out of that institution could resort to inducement, as we saw, even in terms of collating that signatures, that they were deluded, they were deceived to come for an empowerment program with their voters card. And under that guise, their details were collected, not for the purposes for which they announced them, because I learned that there was an announcement made on radio in Kogi for people to come for such empowerment program. So you can see the deception that the political class could go to, the level they could go to, because they want to achieve a predetermined end. But the electorate of the senatorial district must stand fair on the mandate they have given to this lady. Let us have our term. If by 2027 those who are opposing her candidacy could get her out of the Senate, so be it. Let them do it democratically, but not to resort to underhand dealings or, Machiavellian principle of the end justifying the means. Of people, she has mentioned dates where meetings were held and the place where the meeting was held and the decisions that were made. And 2 out of those 3 decisions have come out to be true. I hope the assassination attempt that she laid claim to would agree, but it should not be to the level of bloodletting. So that would be my own appeal to the people of Kogi Central and Senatorial District. They should stand firm. They should not allow themselves to be used. They should not allow themselves to be induced. And whoever is after Natasha, they should back down. Enough is enough. They will just continue to be humiliated. And it's not going to be good for them, for now and for their future political career. So let them shift their sword. Let them prepare for 2027. If they can defeat her in a party primary or in a general election in 2027, then so be it.
All right.
But enough of chasing shadows.
All right. Gideon Ojo is a public affairs analyst and a newspaper columnist. He joined us here on Perspectives virtually from Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. We thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ojo, for your valuable insights and time with us on the program. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Do have a wonderful day.
Have a great day too,
Keep safe.
Thank you. Good
Yeah.
day. All right. Okay. Barrister Martini,
Yes.
we're due to start engaging with the listener, but shortly, let me just give you a minute or two. React to some of the submissions. You listen to your co-panelists on the program keenly.
Yeah, on all fours, I agree with him, and his position is apt. It's we are on the same page, and for us as Nigerians, our primary concern is government should begin to engage us on issues that have direct bearing on our lives, issues that improves our lives for the better, than chasing shadows or trying to fight people for whatever political gain or interest one has. It's very saddening that today we have spent or expended public resources, because the exercise INEC initiated, public resources were used.
Absolutely.
And it should be disturbing to us that people for selfish interest, people for the love of power, to show someone that I'm more than you, I'm more connected than you, can activate that kind of spending of public resources. Those things are not necessary. Now we need policies, we need laws by the National Assembly that will secure this nation, that will give every Nigerian a sense of belonging, that will make Nigeria be proud, and every Nigerian be proud that, yes, I'm a Nigerian today. Hurts me on the loose. There are issues of jingle justice everywhere. People are being lynched. That should be of concern to the National Assembly, as opposed to this shameful outing we are seeing just around the corner. Why wait till the 11th hour? You begin to rush for us to have, because there were issues, there were challenges with the Electoral Act of 2022. What is the National Assembly doing to see to improving our electoral system? So this should be the major concern of National Assembly, as opposed to fighting people here and there.
All right, dear listener, we'll take a short breather, and when we are back, we'll start engaging with you. Please stay with us. welcome back from that short break, dear listener. Thank you for staying with us. If you are just joining us, you are listening to Perspectives on iGate Radio 95. The Senator for Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, INEC communicated the decision yesterday. We are analyzing that. And you can offer your thoughts by reaching us on the number 0814-335-9292. The number, once again, is 0814-335-9292. Once you connect with us, we're interested in knowing your full name and where you are calling from. Then you make your submission. Kindly keep it very brief and within the confines of what we are discussing. Be civil in your engagement as well. Send us an SMS to 0912-699-9404. The line for SMS, once again, is 0912-699-9404. Please remember to include your full name and where you are sending your message from. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Mr. Nathaniel, and the guests in the house.
Thank you for joining us.
My name is Brother Emeka, calling from Welfare Portal, as usual.
Very well.
Thank you so very much for this enlightening program. In short, my knowledge of our Constitution has been so enriched by your guests in the house and Mr. Video with you. So thank you. All kudos for iGate Radio for enlightening us once more.
Thanks. We're encouraged by your kind words, Emeka. Thank you.
Okay, so when I heard this message yesterday, when I heard it on the radio yesterday, I knew at once that it was just a witch hunt. There is no diplomatic way of putting it. So I realized that the powers that be want to flex their muscle. But it saddens me, just like the last remark made by the lawyer in the house. We have so many pressing issues that our lawmakers could, invest their time on. But arrogancy and elitism is pervading our political culture that can make you disappear from the face of the earth. When you have an altercation with a cab driver. So these people have become so elitist. They are so detached from the concern, interests, and values of the people who elected them. And all they do is to weaponize the very institutions that put them in power. They weaponize it to intimidate and to harass others. So it's a very sad development in our political institution. So part of the political culture that has pervaded the whole world. The same thing happens to the present American president. They use all available institutions, weaponize it to try to stop it, but the people said no. So to me, the power lies with us. We have to become more educated as people to vote and then put people in place who will show concern for our interests and values, not just for themselves. Right. And then one more thing, please, before I hang up.
Briefly.
These people should be the people that trick people into signing what they didn't know about. They should be arrested. This is identity theft. This is false pretense of obtaining signature. EFCC will arrest you for obtaining money under false pretense. They should also arrest these people for obtaining signature under false pretense and educated and prosecuted and jailed.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emeka. We appreciate you for calling. Those who both of you alleged. Anyway, that's a subject to be proven. Jide alleged it too, that the signatures were gotten by false pretense. People were arranged on empowerment. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
And welcome to Perspective.
Yeah, good morning, Oganak.
Thank you.
Good morning. I have some questions and I need answers.
Yes,
because we're talking about Natasha here, and all she's saying is like they have a secret agenda on her. So my question is this: why Senate President sees her salary allowance and her allowances? Secondly, why her recall within?
Tehide.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Tehide.
Yes, sir.
Are you just tuning into the program? Are you just joining us? Oh, we lost connection with you. Anyway, some of the questions, like the one why her recall within the period of her suspension, we had discussed that here elaborately. So I was thinking it shouldn't come up as a question anymore. Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Perspective.
Good morning, Nathaniel Nango.
Thank you, sir.
My regards to the guests in the studio.
Thank you.
The recall of Kogi Central Senator is political motivated. In fact, I recommend INEC by stopping the recall. The background for the recall of the senator is that the person is elected by his or her people. So before the process of recall completed. It would be this or her constituent to responsibility to recall the representatives. So as far as the process of recall is not touched by the representative, the recall is incompleted. So the recall is politically motivated. Thank you so very much.
All right, thank you, Dominic Uba, for calling. We appreciate you. Anyway, like you both alleged, if citizens are being manipulated to call for the recall or make a case for the recall of their senators or elected representatives, it shouldn't be that way. Shouldn't due process be followed? These are the issues with our citizens too that we should look at. So let's focus on both ends. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Perspectives. Hello. Hello, good morning. Oh, quite unfortunate. All right. We're here. The number to reach us, 0814-335-9292. The SMS line is 0912-699-9404. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan.
Welcome to Perspectives.
My name is Justin Emile.
Okay, go ahead, Justin.
As regards INEC's position, the recall process did not meet the constitutional requirements. I want to say it's victory for the democracy. It is also victory for the truth. It is also a call for our representatives to always do what is right, by meeting the yearnings and aspiration of the people, so that no matter the storm that comes calling for them, the people will stand for them. However, I want to say that Natasha recall is another display of tyranny, mediocrity by those who went to the Senate, even through the back door. You understand? So she has her people behind her. She has been performing. She's a very strong and passionate representative. I think all of us should be proud of. So I am saying that in order to put all of this in check, I feel that the issue of constitutionalism should come in. All the institutions should play according to rules. There are laid down procedures on how this issue should be handled. Are you getting me?
Very well.
So I am saying that Natasha's suspension as it is was an illegality. And I'm asking, what has the judiciary as an arm of government, what interpretation have they given? Because as a senator, you should not be suspended for more than 2 weeks. Now that it has happened, what has the judiciary done? 2, I want to call on electorate, we voters, that we should be wary of these Ringoto politicians. We should wake up to our political consciousness so that we can say no to things that do not pertain to us, or things that will not do us any good. And we should not allow ourselves to be used by certain politicians to do away with people who mean well for us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate you for calling in.
You're welcome.
Anyway, like the popular cliche, they said the courts, and it's not the Father Christmas, it's what we ask for that they will give. But I believe Natasha has also approached the court. So what the judiciary is doing, maybe when we come back, I'll allow you to comment on that, Barrister Martini. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Attorney and the guests in the house.
Thank you very much.
This is Ada Samuel calling from North Bank.
Ada Samuel, good to have you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful topic this morning. The issue of Natasha. Why is it that somebody who another person is sit on his seat and judge his own case? I'm talking about the Senate president. He sits on that seat and judge his own case. The Senate president is supposed to step aside and allow another person to judge the case because he's under suspect. And secondly, those that organize the government empowerment in Natasha constituency, telling people that they are going to empower them and that they should come with their voters registration, voters card those people, they're supposed to be question them, because how do they get those people signature? They call them for empowerment and they get their signature. How come? How is that thing organized? So those people are supposed to be arrested for criminal conspiracy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ada Samuel, for your position. The organizers of the empowerment program should be arrested. Is your punchline. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Nathaniel. No.
Thank you.
The voice of Mark Anwangini from the local government.
All right.
Thank you so much for bringing this topic on radio again. For me, I think we said a lot on this issue. So to make it short, I may like to tell the senator that the suspension given to Natasha was illegal suspension. So I think we used to call our red chamber that is guarding us now. And I think everybody, even them, said that they needed the suspension, including the Senate President, knows that the suspension is illegal and the due process wasn't followed. So they should go back to the drawing board and follow the normal procedure. And I don't know if the Natasha approaches the judiciary and the judiciary are not making the speedy judgment there. Because
anyway,
the judiciary
Mark,
is the last hope.
Hello, Mark. For today, anyway, this is an evolving issue, but today the focus mainly is on the recall. What is the situation between INEC and her constituents? I believe you've been listening to us since we started.
As you are saying, I think we need not to focus only on the recall. Based on the issue, I think the suspension is illegal. It's unconstitutional.
Okay.
So the recall for the INEC, for me, is a welcome development. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you. The recall notice, the information from the INEC is a welcome development. Like I mentioned, the discussion is evolving, but mainly it is the recall angle of it that is our interest for this discussion today. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Welcome to Perspectives.
Yeah. Welcome. I'm Moses Anu from Manu Village in Makodi.
All right.
Yeah, my regards to the guest in the studio.
Thank you, Moses. Please go ahead and make your submission.
Yes, about the INEC, between INEC and Natasha, at least INEC, to me, INEC has made me proud yesterday when I heard the news on radio. Because at times, INEC, like the other time you are doing a program and you say INEC, this be in the House of Rep that they want to conduct an election. And in one day I was complaining that I welcome it, and what we add is that the people who this woman represent in development, because this thing has been happening even after the political cycle. You have some women in different offices, they go through such intimidation. So if this woman makes herself that no, this thing cannot be happening, and they just wake up and say they will call her, it's just a welcome development at all. That's my take on it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. But I believe Moses Anon this time, the inconclusive, INEC has concluded the request. Moses for calling in. Moses said he's worried that INEC declares the election inconclusive. So if we transit to one day election in a day, general election, it will be difficult for the elections to be concluded. Well, the number to reach us is 0814-335-9290. If you're not able to connect to us on that line, simply send us an SMS to 0912-699-9404. The number for SMS, once again, is 0912-699-9404, because sometimes the traffic on the call line is quite unusual, and we may not be able to accommodate also. Please utilize alternative platforms as well. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Nathaniel.
Thank you so much for joining us.
My regards to the guests in the studio.
Thank you.
My name is Takuluku Anyamazinga. I'm calling from Abesemba Yon, Boko local government.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I received that news from INEC, and I welcome it. I cherish it. Democracy is at work. We have not failed completely, so I praise INEC for that. this issue of Natasha, I wonder why the red chamber there, and you are busy questioning her. You also are joining those people that are distracting her to distract her the most. Why is that happening in Kogi Central? They should bend down and then fight justice for Natasha. They should help Natasha fight for her justice. They had her case supposed to be looked at very well. So let them follow her to the court, and then justice should prevail on this case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nyamazinga, for calling in. We appreciate you.
You are welcome.
All right. Hello, good morning.
Yep, hello, good morning.
Welcome to Perspectives.
Thank you very much. My name is Kenneth. I'm calling from Makudi, civilian quarters.
Okay, good to have you, Kenneth.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, let me commend Agate Radio for this topic is apt. And, the gentleman, the barrister in the studios, and Jido Joe, the public affairs analyst who have spoken earlier, have actually spoken very well. And let us not forget in this country that we live in a society where things are not done in the right direction. We all know, because if we want to follow the law the way it is, we have some specific individuals who are in the Senate or elsewhere who are not even supposed to be in the office by the new electoral law that is in place. But we didn't talk about that. Nigerians have forgotten about all those things. And let us not just take it that whenever someone have an issue with somebody and then you take it, politically you have an issue with somebody and then you take it that upon you, you try to victimize somebody, you try to deny some specific, particular people, representatives in the Senate or anywhere elsewhere. What happens to the woman is very unfair, it's unjust. It's something that I believe the country should look into critically. In case of next time, anyone who tried this kind of thing, let us not just be looking at it that we have personal issues with people and then we draw it into governance. It's quite unfortunate. And at the same time, our government in this country should sit up. We believe that people who go to represent us, they are people of proven integrity. But at the same time, in a situation where you see that integrity is not there, the people who will believe that, yes, they are representatives are just acting dramas, write script, and then try to display it all over. Okay. It is not correct. So I, in my own way, I condemn what happened to that lady in totality, and I condemn that, and of course, I advise that should not happen. Let the system work in the right direction so that we have a fair system. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth. We appreciate you for calling in. Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Nathan Longo. Good morning, guests in the house.
Thank you.
My name is Tefa ST, calling from KN Kano, northwest part of Nigeria this morning.
Tefa Kiruke, how is Kano this morning?
Kano is very sunny. We are experiencing high temperature here. The sun is very hot.
Okay, is there a recall for any senator in Kano you are aware of? Don't mind me.
No, it's Kano here. All the senatorial districts are very calm.
Okay.
There is no court process.
Okay, so talk to us on our discussion for today.
Well, to me, you see, when something happens, people begin to bring politics inside. Why is it the time that Natasha has issue with and Senate President, then the recall process has started to come? This is unacceptable. The recall is not good at all. To me, the electorate, they should not victimize. They should not make them, politicians should use them to choose to those that elect, those that they have elect. The woman is bringing good development in her constituency. Why you people want to call her in this time that he has problem with the Senate President? So to me, the electorate should have rethink and they should stop distracting her to her legislative function. I think by that we have a better nation. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, thank you very much, Tefa Kiruke, for calling in.
It's my pleasure. Have a nice day.
Have a great day too. Okay, so I think Tefa and Kenneth are of the opinion that these electorates are also joining in distracting their senator who is performing. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Nathaniel Nogu.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, my name is Mr. Benson Onate. Benson Onate is my name. Onate is spelled O-N-A-T-E.
Don't worry.
Network Police. Speaking from behind St. Augustine Catholic Church at DK here by Mobile Barrack side.
Okay, thank you, retired DSP Onate.
Yes.
All right.
So
I hope this one you are introducing yourself fully with the compliments of your security. I hope we are protected on the program.
Of course, yes, Nathaniel. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Onate, go ahead.
Yes. In fact, I am surprised why the Senate president still be in his position, because he's supposed to have stepped down. You can never be a judge of yourself. So our legislators should have known that the Senate president, whom the allegation was made against, is supposed not to be on that seat. He's supposed to have been stepped down. Investigation to that allegation be made. If it is something arranged before the court of competent jurisdiction should be done so. And if it's immune from prosecution, okay, we agree, but let him step down for the investigation.
Okay, so
now,
yes, the recall. Let's dwell more on this because
yes, I'm going to the recall now. Recall now is unjustifiable. The recall is unjustifiable because this is not now. Even according to the section 59 of 1999 Constitution as amended, quoted by Learned Counsel in the studio, you can see it that when a trouble happens, there must be a reason, a process of recalling someone. A very notable senator. You cannot just go because of this matter to go into and initiate recalling. And whosoever that is behind that matter, that recalling process, should be arrested and prosecuted if they investigated. Why are they hiding their phone number and their addresses if what they want is true? So why are they hiding their identity? In the first instances, this is a person that has been. So I think it is a terrible, it's an offense that cannot let it go. Those behind it should be arrested, investigated, and prosecuted accordingly for diverting the senator from doing the right thing in the National Assembly.
Okay.
Irrespective of the political parties.
Thank you.
So that is my submission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, retired DSP Onate. We appreciate you for calling in, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Okay. The police will always talk about obtaining information by false pretense. So Onate is worried that people are hiding their identity. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nathaniel, and your co-respondents.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Sunday Ochiwu, calling from Demekwe.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Ochiwu.
So, I think it's a good decision from them now. My second thought is about those who signed those letters to INEC. They are supposed to be investigated, as other people are saying, so that a sanity will come to our electoral institution. Then if Natasha has a problem with Senate President, what is her offense before they are calling her back? We have never heard anything. This is what he has done before they are calling her back, because I have never read that letter. I only heard about recalling. What was her offense for calling her back? Now, Natasha has gained popularity because of somebody's mistake. Who is that person that makes mistake? Senate President. I said it the other day. He judged the case by himself and give a verdict. He should go for suspension. Now he go again. Collaborate with other people to recall her so that
for that one is a mere allegation. There is nowhere where it is confirmed that the Senate President has collaborated that. So let's stay out of the allegation then. You are only alleging what cannot be proven on the program, except you have evidence to prove.
It's true. That one is a mere allegation, but our mind is reading towards that side. That is why I said.
So let your mind read towards what can be confirmed by you.
It's okay. So I'm appealing to the good people of Nigeria and especially INEC. Let them continue to behave as such so that our electoral institution will be good, because what they have started now, they have started in the good slate. at 10 o'clock, and he's going for the second tenure, and he will win.
You buy airtime to campaign for Natasha Sunday with you. Thank you very much for calling in. For today, we are not campaigning for Natasha's second tenure. If you want, definitely we are here for business, so we can avail you the airtime to come discuss that with us. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives.
Yeah, good morning. This is Joseph Odumeke from Munko Quarters.
Thank you, Mr. Odumeke.
Our people have to say that the voice of people are the voice of God. And I so believe in it. I'm a Christian and we Christians, we believe in it. Right from the beginning of the Natasha saga, majority of Nigerians have been sympathetic with her because the way she was treated has not been very fair. And that is why God has been on her side. The organizers of the recall process have failed woefully because God is on the side of that woman. And I pray that God will continue to be on her side until she wins all the battles. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Joseph Otomoke. Okay, so let's like we mentioned, this issue can happen in any part of the country at all. It can also happen in Benue. We are not praying it happens, but as citizens, what we should do as electorate should be the right thing that should be done to correct some of this so that this process provided for is not by side. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Nathaniel, you can't keep me like this.
Come on. You just joined the discussion. Good morning. I just turned you on. So welcome anyway.
No. I had waited. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry,
no,
sincerely.
A presenter cannot say that when it becomes obvious that he has apologized within.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and make your submission.
My name is Fiesi. Good morning to my childhood friend, Barrister Martini.
Good morning, Mutum.
Thank you. Anytime I'm listening to you, I am so happy. And Nathaniel, thank you for always inviting my friend because he is in the know of activities.
Okay. For today, it's not about your friend, even though he's a panelist, he's on the program.
You have committed an offense. You don't need to defend yourself.
Okay,
let's discuss the issue. Let's go. All right. I want to appreciate the people of Kogi so much for displaying maturity and love for their lawmaker. It shows that people are still reasoning. And I applaud them. I appreciate them so for doing that. You see, the whole saga is just about noise making. And part of the noise have been trashed by INEC. I also appreciate the institution so much for putting it on record that illegality has no place since the laws are there to be applied in any situation. These issues, the last time it was Dino, and now it is Natasha. All callers have put it on record that let these people who are barefaced be brought to book. I believe that this is the law. The law should be that if you have alleged, like in this case, I am not a lawyer, my friend is a lawyer, he can help enlighten on this. But these people who always, bring up this with no fact, because there were no reasons why she should be recalled. It was just I think there was no reason. So I believe that those who have perpetrated this should be brought to book. And then let it be, a warning to others who are thinking of doing this. But politics is like this. Even if they are brought to book, others are warming up. And in fact, their effect will be more than what has happened in Kogi. But I want to thank the people of
Kogi. We are only analyzing what can or anywhere at all.
In any case,
Absolutely.
I lack the adjective as not being a public relation officer like you. So I believe that you can correct me.
Yes, I don't thank the interest of the people of Kogi or Natasha or anybody at all. Even though Kogi is our neighbor, but what happens in Kogi can happen in any part of the country, and we will also discuss it here. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives. Good morning. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello. Hello, good morning. Oh, you are on, but your voice is not coming through. Quite unfortunate. You may try to call back if you are able to connect with us. That'll be fine. We'll still engage with you. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is Mr. Emmanuel apart from side along Lafia Road.
Emmanuel, welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, this is a case of a developing nation where they do things with impunity.
Hello, Emmanuel.
No, some people.
Emmanuel?
Yeah.
The network in Yelwata.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but the network seems to be unstable in Yelwata where you are. If you maybe change your position so we can hear you better.
Of course, I am not surprised because I had to come to the roadside before I was able to even get a little. Can you hear me?
Very well. We can hear you now. Go on.
Okay. So I was saying that this is not out of place as far as Nigeria is concerned. As far as Nigeria is labeled as one of the third world countries, whereby we are very low in terms of development in all human ramifications. By that, impunity reigns in underdeveloped states like ours. By state, I mean country in this regard. So the attempted recall of Natasha by some of the members of this constituent has put forward the case that has been happening in the country. To me, I feel that it is a failed effort from the outset, in the sense that in this country, many people have attempted to do that in the past, but they were unable to, of course, complete the process or the processes. So Natasha's own is not peculiar and it's not out of place. Be that as it may, we know that that process is usually politically motivated, and our country is yet to be mature in our political practices, and that is why some of those things come up here and there. It is a regular development, and we always pray that we reach a level that all these things will stop. We will reach the level that our political development will reach the stage that all these things will be put to rest, so that everybody in this country will enjoy the democracy dividends for the betterment of all. Thank you and good morning.
All right, Emmanuel, thank you very much for calling in. Yeah. Anyway, Emmanuel seemed to, well, maybe his opinion is that we are not politically mature to have the recall process succeed. If I got him correctly, I lost part of that because of the fluctuation of the network, but that's okay. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Mr. Atare Dongo.
Thank you so
much.
I
am Engineer Sunday Akpa calling from Law Bank, Makodi.
All right, Engineer Akpa.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just have this to say. Let me just quote Delegiwa before he was killed by Passover. He said, any evil done by man to man will certainly be punished, either by man or by God, either now or certainly in future. But the victory of evil over good can only be temporary, and that's my case. Happy nice day.
Okay. So, well, you are gone. It's not my interpretation. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I am very happy with this program you handle. You handle it very well. Good morning, the barrister on the program.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. I am Ochi Ocho. I am a veterinary doctor.
Okay, Ochi Ocho, where are you reaching us from?
I'm reaching you from Uruku.
Okay, it appears you are in the market, right?
No, I'm not in a market.
Okay,
it's just that I am close to the street.
No wonder. The background is quite noisy. Oh, that's okay. Go ahead, Ochi Ocho. Let's see if we can hear you very well.
Thank you, sir. You see, the problem we have in this country is the problem of no consequences for crimes committed. We have laws in this country. When will we start to implement them? And it appears we have poor institutions but powerful individuals. So, because this woman made an allegation to a powerful citizen of this country, is that why she should be hounded here and there at Abuja in her home place? And these things are the fingerprints of powerful people. In fact, what I will submit is, let our laws begin to work. The people that deceived the voters, have they not committed a crime? You collected somebody's signature in pretense for another thing. Wouldn't there be consequences? If there are no consequences, this nonsense will continue to repeat itself. Let's actually begin to work on what the law is saying. Please, that's just my submission.
All right. Thank you very much, Ochi.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you. There should be punishment for actions, consequences. Let's take some messages. I'm making stronger institutions rather than individuals. This one says, Igbirutenenge from Bisuth. He said, personally, I think all that is happening is just a side distraction by the leaders to make us forget the current situation in the country. Okay, Igbirutenenge, thank you. But, well, recall is not, should it be a distraction because it's also part of the issues happening in the country. So it's not a distraction. I should think so, but you are entitled to your opinion. Recall in Nigeria is just a phrase added in our government textbook for the purpose of widening our political knowledge. It is not meant to be practiced because it cannot give positive result. Tionenge Excellence Board from Behind Prisons, Makudi. Okay, Tionenge, thank you. Why is the suspension only placed on Senator Natasha? Why can't the Senate also suspend the Senate President to allow for a proper investigation? Agbo Telumo from Yakio. Okay, thank you, Telumo, for your message. We appreciate you. If you could just one or two more calls and then we'll wrap up with the calls and return to the studio. Good morning. Thank you for joining.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Dr. Michael Toram. I'm calling from Welfare Quarters.
Did you say Matthew Toram?
Michael Toram.
Okay.
I'm calling from Welfare.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you so much for bringing up this.
Thank you, sir.
Topic. You see, as people have been saying, we live in a country that government institutions are used on people who are supposed to be doing the right thing or people who do the right thing. My take is this. There is an allegation against a principal officer of a country like Nigeria. Instead of following the right procedure of doing things, the young lady was suspended and a recall followed suit. So nobody cannot complain in Nigeria. Do we continue like this? Our institutions of governance are not strong. And all these are brought to what? Poor leadership. A leadership that is very highly corrupt, a leadership that lack what to do to the people who are suffering. Natasha has not committed anything. I know that all allegations leveled against the Senate President are true. Because
no, you do not know, because I don't think you know, because you have not tried him to establish that the allegations are
have
true.
They tried Natasha before all these allegations are coming up? They have not. That is why I'm saying our institutions are not strong.
So let's stay on the allegations, not just to confirm.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Thanks for the correction. So please.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Go ahead and conclude your thoughts.
Okay, yes. So things like this, if they continue doing in our country without any enforcement of law, first and foremost, the Senate President is supposed to be what? Asked to step down so that an independent investigation will go on. He is there. They have only suspended Natasha. He went there to appear before the Senate committee. Look at the dramatic on the recall is biased. It's nothing that will happen to anybody. They are just punishing the woman. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate you, Doram. Thanks. And that will be the last call we'll take on the program for want of time. A few more messages from our live stream feed here. Atondu Gabriel Tefa says, good work. Thank you, Atondu, for calling in. For your message on the live stream feed. Mike Pilaka says, you guys should keep it up. Of course, we are encouraged and we'll keep it up. Thank you very much for the messages. All right. Barrister Martin, we do not have time again, but this time we'll be drawing our concluding thoughts gradually. You have listened to several of the callers and issues that arose from their submissions. First, both of you and Jide earlier alleged how the signatures of the constituents that initiated this petition seeking the recall of the senator for Kogi Central, how their signatures were obtained by false pretense. Tell us what the laws say about this situation and how is it punishable?
Now, fraudulent misrepresentation is actionable and is criminal and can be prosecuted. And once you obtain information or a property from someone by misrepresenting facts, you can be tried for that. And it's fraudulent. And we anticipate and expect and call on the law enforcement agents to investigate this allegation, because there are videos from some of the constituents who came out to say that they were deceived and misled to attending an empowerment program only for them to append their signatures for the recall of their member. So they were deceived, and it's a fraudulent act, and that should be condemned. And I agree with the callers who say that because we don't seem to be hammering on consequences for action, people behave in the way and manner that is not pleasing and in total disregard of our laws. No nation developed without the rule of law. So we need to entrench the rule of law in this country. And the rule of law presupposes that we are all equal before the law. Therefore, the same punishment, the same speed, the same investigation meted out to a farmer in Agatu should be meted out to the president of this country if he contravenes our laws. So beyond Natasha and her personality and what she represents, Nigerians must appreciate the fact that this conversation we are having is not just about Natasha, but is for the constitutionality, for us to respect our laws, for us to do things the right way. It's an opportunity for us to educate our citizens. After Natasha, another person may be a victim. So the right process must be followed. So people, our electorate should equally appreciate the fact that we are not supposed to weaponize our right to recall our representatives. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be willing tools to be used by a politician to settle political scores. It is about the interests of the people. You elected your representative. Is a person performing? Do you still have confidence in that person? So if you have confidence in your representative, is there any point recalling such person? How about those ones that you complain daily on the social media, on the internet, about their non-performance? What have you done to hold them accountable? So by the time people begin to appreciate the fact that, yes, you have a right to elect people, and when you elect them, it's not for eternity, you equally have the right to recall them when they are not performing, then we're on the path to having accountable and responsible leadership. That is the only way we can develop our country as a nation. It's the only way we can entrench the rule of law. Without the rule of law, might is right. And when might is right, we are heading towards anarchy. And no society survives with anarchy. Today, you may be in power. Tomorrow, you will be out of power. Power is transient. So it is incumbent on both our elected representatives. Whatever position you're occupying today, someone was once there. Today, he's no more. What will you be remembered for? So our representatives should be more preoccupied with the policies that have direct bearings on the people instead of bothering us with personal issues. For me, if you ask me, we have spent a lot of time on personal egos of some individuals as opposed to issues that affect us as a nation. We are experiencing jingle justice in Nigeria today. What is the stand of the National Assembly on that issue? Is the National Assembly oversighting the executive in such a way and manner that Nigerians can begin to feel the impact of the economic reforms? So, the way and manner we even see approvals from the National Assembly over executive requests and all that is alarming, and it's concerning for Nigerians. Just imagine the issue of declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, and by voice vote, contrary to the constitutional provision, they granted the request of the president. And today we have a sole administrator without a legislature in Rivers State functioning, going about executing projects, and then we have been informed that the Supreme Court judgment has been varied because federal allocation has been released to Rivers State without a budget. Because if the Supreme Court said because you don't have a valid budget presented to the State House of Assembly, you cease to have a right to your federal allocation, today the sole administrator has access to the federal allocation meant for Rivers State. Anyway, should that be the case?
All right.
So what I'm speaking in essence is that until we begin to do things the right way,
all right,
we'll be on a long journey to getting things right. And Nigerians are concerned. I'm very happy that Nigerians are showing interest in what affects them, irrespective of who is affected.
Absolutely.
Irrespective of the state the person is from. What is right is right. The rule of law affects everyone, and the rule of man injures everyone.
All right. Now, another thing we should touch on before we close is also the allegation that this coalition of civil society groups that coordinated this recall process in Kogi, that it is not even a registered group that should be attended to by law. What does the law say about this?
Now, you can.
Is it also in the place of coalition or civil society groups to coordinate the recall of a sitting senator or a lawmaker?
Now, it's just unfortunate, and I think these are issues that needs to be thoroughly investigated. If you present yourself as a registered entity and you're not registered, it's a criminal act. And such convenance of that so-called coalition, if investigated and found that they are not truly registered by the Corporate Affairs Commission, there are sanctions for it. So it is part of this mentality that we can behave anyhow and nothing happens in this country. People have come on television to openly admit that they rigged the election by saying that I gave this person, made this person the governor of the state, I made you a senator and all that. But nothing happened. So until there are consequences for actions, we'll still continue to have some of this, and then they throw up in our space. So we need to begin to review some of these actions, and where there are lapses or breaches, there should be consequences and prosecution. So beyond just putting an end to the recall process, as done by INEC, it is time for us to now seek to finding out whether people were deceived into submitting their signatures for the recall of the senator. If they were deceived, then the people behind that should be tried and the proper sanctions be meted out to them.
All right. In closing, this should be your final thoughts. What do we do going from here to strengthen the integrity of INEC? Well, now, Nigerians are commending them for updating them periodically about this development up to this moment. So what should INEC do to maintain its integrity on this issue, and also the Senate?
Now, INEC has a whole lot. If we can get INEC working, Nigeria will work. If INEC can give a credible, free, and fair election, be rest assured that Nigeria will get working. We are not in short supply of competent Nigerians who have the interests of this country at heart. But the problem is that the system works against them. So INEC needs to be supported. We need to encourage INEC for this intervention they have made. The move they have made, it's commendable. So in that light, INEC should sustain that tempo of doing things the right way, following the path of constitutionalism, following the rule of law, following due process. If your community is consumed by insecurity, your community is ravaged by unemployment, you are affected no matter how comfortable you are, because you are the next target of kidnapping when you come from a community that is undeveloped, that is not progressing. So for me, INEC should be supported and should be given the needed resources and the free hand to be truly independent in its conduct of affairs, so that Nigerians can have faith in their institution. Nigeria can have confidence in their organs and institutions of government. Because I recall when INEC first came out on this issue, people were expressing reservations that we know what they are capable of doing. At the end of the day, they will do whatever script someone has written for them. But INEC has proved most of those Nigerians wrong. So INEC should continue in that light so that the right thing should be done in respect of who is involved, whatever political party has put our name. Let them do it in a very transparent manner without any form of bias. If the matter is submitted before the court of law, let the judges be allowed to do their work so that at the end of the day, we'll get the truth out of it. It's only the truth that will set us free.
All right. Barrister Timothy Amatimi is a legal practitioner and a public affairs commentator. He joined us here on today's edition of Perspectives, which will focus our discussion on the recall process in the National Assembly involving the Senator for Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, and the implications it has about democracy in the country in general. Thank you very much indeed for your valuable time, Barrister Amatimi.
Thank you for availing me this opportunity.
Earlier on, we were also joined virtually by a public affairs analyst and newspaper columnist, Mr. Jide Ojo, who joined us virtually from Abuja. We are grateful to him for also offering his thoughts. Dear listener, we are here, and of course, this is an evolving situation. Whatever angle that pans out, we'll be here to monitor and bring you latest development. My name is Nathaniel Nongo. Have yourself a great weekend and kindly join us next week, Monday, for a fresh edition of Perspectives. We should remind you that the views, opinions, and thoughts of the callers, panelists, and callers on this program are solely theirs and do not necessarily reflect the editorial policy of Agate Radio. Enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.